Hi there! This video is a recording of a live webinar, so you may hear references to live questions or features as they appeared at the time. With that in mind, let's dive in.
So courtesy cars is in the jobs and courtesy car section. Obviously, as I always say on the webinars, this is our demo system, so there will be stuff that says like test and stuff like that, but just feel free to ignore that. So how to set one up? With most pages in TechMan, you have got this plus button here, and it's exactly the same for courtesy cars as well. So what you'll have is the button to click here, there, the plus button, and then as self-explanatory as you can get, you will type in the reg, the make, and the model. Obviously, if you are a multi-site, and just looking at a couple of you guys, I actually can see that you are, just name I remember. I don't know if there's more. If you're a single site, you don't need to worry about that site. If you're a multi-site, you can just select which site you want that car to go onto. So say if this was design Northampton and then design Kettering, for example, if the vehicle was in the Kettering garage, we'd put it under Kettering, stuff like that. We put the registration in. I'll just put one of our actual courtesy cars in because I can see it isn't actually in the system already. Perfect. So you just type in the reg, the make, and the model, and then you can save that. And then you can, and that is literally how you would add it in. Literally how you would add it in. Obviously, there are other bits you can do on too, like the MOT date, the road tax date, all stuff like that. But you don't need to. And if you want to add the fuel type as well, you can to obviously let your staff or customers know whether it is in a petrol or a diesel in there. Or electric, if you want to put that in. So then what we would do on here, that's literally the creation side of it. Courtesy cars is very, very easy to create on there. The reason for that is you literally go into jobs, hit courtesy cars, then hit the plus button. And from there, it's very self-explanatory steps. With TechMan, we do try and make things as easy as possible. I know things naturally, like the Google reviews, are a bit more fiddly than others because there has to be more steps, but courtesy cars, it's a very, very simple process of adding. It's also fairly simple job. You just need to know exactly where to go, which I'll show you now. And as long as you know where to go, you'll be fine on there. So if I just hit jobs on here, I'm going to go back to this job, but I will just quickly put it in work in progress on here, and I'll hit save job. So if I scroll down on here where you've got the job details bit, you have got the courtesy car, which is kind of hidden. If you haven't got courtesy cars, you'll probably actually never really notice it's there, but it's kind of hidden in plain sight, one of those functions in the TechMan system. So you select courtesy car, and all it does is it drops down the 4 courtesy cars that we've got in here. Now, if you've got 1 or if you've got 10, it'll drop down 1, it'll drop down 10. However many you've got in, it will drop that down. Unless it's obviously already booked out for the date that has been given on here. So I'm going to select the Peugeot 108, and the booking date and time. The booking date started on the 19th of June, so that's when the car is out. And then the deadline, you would just select when you need the car back. So I will select that as the 22nd, so it was out for the weekend on there. And then I'll hit save job. So again, a very, very simple process of actually adding it to the job. All you need to do is scroll down, hit the courtesy car section, and it will be the multiple choice. And then the booking date in terms of when it starts, you don't really need to worry about, because when it starts, that will just default as to when the customer needs that booking date and time. And then you've got the deadline on there as well too. So just scrolling down here, you've got all of that, and then you've just got the save button. Sorry, that sounded like I was going to go on to something else in the job, but it doesn't. That's all you do in the job. That's literally it. And then if I now go back to courtesy cars in here, this is the really, really good bit. The really good bit. So if I go into show calendar and go onto month here, you can see what current jobs they're on. Let me just refresh this actually on there. That is because I'm on the wrong month. There we go. I was wondering what was going on there, because it was June that we put this out in. So on here in June, you can see that this was out from the 19th to the 22nd. Now, if you guys have a speeding ticket or a parking ticket or some other type of fine come through on this vehicle on the 20th of June, you can just go onto this job and you can see who the customer was. And obviously, we would recommend taking phone numbers and emails of customers. We always just recommend that anyway, not if you're doing a courtesy car, just anytime you're adding a customer, it's always beneficial if you take those contact details. And one of the best reasons for that is for this reason specifically. If you've got their number or their email, you can just let them know straight away a ticket was picked up when they had the vehicle. And there's, I mean, hopefully you then hope that they'd be honest about it. If they weren't, they would have no leg to stand on, because you've got all the evidence that you need here, like it was on them at that time, and that's all you kind of need on there. So, and you know, as a garage ourselves, like we know that people are a little bit less careful when not in their own vehicle, unfortunately. Probably no fault of their own, but that's just how it is. So it does give you that element of being able to track that if you do get fines, because it shouldn't be on you guys to have to pay that, obviously, because you didn't get the fine. So that's how you would find it. It's in courtesy cars and then in the show calendar, and then you can obviously go to whichever month. Obviously make sure you get the correct month, unlike I did at the start there, and then you're able to go from there with the courtesy car. And that's the courtesy car function kind of as a whole in there. I will obviously re-go through that. As I said when we go through the Google reviews, on the courtesy car bit, if you've got any questions, there's been no questions in the Q&A right now, but if you have got any questions, please put them in, and obviously I'll be more than happy to answer any on courtesy cars or Google reviews. If you've got any TechMan wide questions as well, feel free to put them in, but obviously this one's mainly based on courtesy cars and Google reviews if there's any questions on there. So I'll just recap how you actually create the courtesy car and then put that onto a job just now. So if you hover over jobs, you've got courtesy car option here, self-explanatory. And then you've got the plus button just here as well. So that will be where you add the courtesy cars in. For anyone, I think all of you were present, just from who I can see is on, but you will select which garage you want. If you've got garages at different sites, then you can obviously select those. And then put the registration, make, and model in, and any other bits you need. The registration, the make, and the model, as you can see, if you've got the colour on, is they're the only mandatory bits, because they're the bits in red. So the other bits are not mandatory. You don't need to put them in if you don't want to or don't feel it's necessary. The only bits are the registration, make, and the model. So you add that in like so. We've now got 4 in here, and then if you go onto a job, I'll hit search jobs, I'll hit this one, you have got in job details where it says courtesy car. Obviously, I've selected the Peugeot 108 to be on there, but if you know, it had to be the Toyota, you can select that. If it had to be the Mini, you can select that. Any courtesy car that is available, when I say available, it will be the full list of courtesy cars, unless on this date you've got one already out. So the booking date and time is when it goes from, and then the deadline, whatever you put the deadline in, that will be when the courtesy car is due to be returned. If you ever need to edit that because it hasn't been returned by then, and the reason I would actually recommend doing that is because in the moment you might go, oh, it's due in tomorrow, I know that, but in a month's time you may have forgotten that you gave them 1 day's grace and didn't edit it. If they then got a speeding ticket on that last day, you won't actually think anyone was on the job, or you obviously won't know because it isn't assigned to anyone, and then it would be a lot more difficult to contact a customer saying, look, there was a speeding ticket picked up on this car whilst you were in possession of it, if it wasn't on the calendar. So make sure the deadline is correct, so it's across the calendar. And if I just go back into courtesy cars, in jobs and courtesy cars, then for anyone who didn't see before, the calendar will show it on here like so. So it's grayed out, and it'll give you what the vehicle was and also the job number, and then you can click the job number, and then go on and see who that customer was. But say, you know, I'm talking about the 23rd, if they actually returned it on the 23rd, on the calendar, it's showing as returned on the 22nd. So just make sure that deadline is as up to date as possible for you guys on there.
Thanks for watching. For more TechMan webinars, updates, and training content, don't forget to subscribe and explore our other videos. See you next time.